My last stroke just went viral. We've already sung Happy Birthday to South Africa. We've already sung Nkosi Sikeleli. We've already sung Shosholoza. So I've already embarrassed myself enough times. Thank you very much. But before we go any further, hi everybody. I go by Stella. I live in the city, hence Stella in the city. My channel is very random, and one of the random videos that I'll be uploading today, or one of the topics that I'm going to be talking about today, is really the end of the trilogy that I have been doing over the past few weeks, which is around celebrating the 27th birthday of the new South Africa. And today I'm going to be switching gears really, and just really talk about something a little bit more serious than the fun times that we had in the past couple of weeks. Give me a second, I just want to close the door. This topic really is in the title, so you will have seen what I'm going to be talking about. It is really about the leadership crisis that I believe that we have in the country. There's a lot to unpack within each political party, but I'm going to be really just addressing one or two things in each political party, because I don't have the whole year to be talking about the negativity that takes place in the leadership in this country. And this really stems from the three major political parties that are governing. I do know that, obviously when we vote a political party into power, that's a political party that governs the country, but then the other political parties effectively keep them accountable. So for all intents and purposes, all of these political parties help to govern the country. Now, having said all of that, I'm going to be talking, as I said, mainly about the three main political parties, or the opposition parties, or whatever you want to call them. It's the Democratic Alliance, or the DA. It's going to be the Economic Freedom Fighters, which is EFF, as well as the African National Congress, which is the ANC. I'm laughing because I'm reminded of a joke that a friend of mine really told me. Was it a friend? Or I heard it somewhere, I can't remember. So what I heard from whoever that person was, they said that these three political parties are like in the dating world. The DA is the cheese boy that you can't really trust. He relaxes his hair, he straightens his hair, he talks like this, and he's like Shwaka bro, like and he listens to Steve Hofmeyr. And EFF is Iginza, that that has been courting you, that has been wooing you for a long time, that sometimes says and does the right things, and it makes you notice them, but it's like, I'm not exactly sure, I'm slightly scared of them. Like, if I say yes to getting into a relationship with this person, I might end up in the hospital. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like he's got the gold chains, he's got the gold tooth, he speaks like sister. And then there's the ANC. The ANC is the boyfriend that rescued you from a very, very toxic and abusive relationship, and now they've sort of turned on you, and they sort of cheating. You don't necessarily want to leave them, because it's that savior complex that you have. It's like a lot of people that I know in my life, unfortunately, always say that better the devil I know than the devil I don't, and that's effectively the ANC. Moving along with that amazing description of the three political parties in mind, I just want to do a quick disclaimer that, number one, since I was old enough to vote, I have voted. I will never take the privilege and the right to vote for granted in this country. I am very much aware and acknowledge that there are people that have come before me that have paid with their lives as well as their livelihoods in order for me to have the right and the privilege to vote. I believe it is a slap in their face for us as younger people to say, nope, I will not vote because things are just too bad. I don't know which political party to vote. And I stand here right now, today, still very much confused about which political party I'm going to be voting for. So, with that in mind, let's go for the first political party. The DA, the Democratic Alliance. For me, I have just found some of the comments that come from the current and previous leaders, and I suppose if you know it's a previous leader, you don't necessarily align yourself with their values or what the things that they say. But some of the rhetoric that has been put out there, as a black woman, it does not serve me. It is very negative, it is very toxic. Things and comments like, you know, if it wasn't for white people or the colonizers, South Africans would still really be living in a backward society. And, you know, there's a whole thing that we can unpack around that, but just in and of itself is very toxic and negative. And the fact that, I mean, I will give them the benefit of the doubt, and that Mmusi Maimane, I think that we were still a leader then. He did distance himself, as well as the political party, from Helen Zille when she mentioned things like that. But it was the other things and policies within the DA that I, as I said, as a black woman, I cannot align myself with. And the current leader, John Steenhuisen, is it John Steenhuisen? Yeah, that guy is problematic, eh? So with that, we're gonna go and talk about the EFF. Now, this political party is quite new and has gained a lot of traction in South Africa, and I always will give credit where it's due, where I have always said that I believe unequivocally that without having had the EFF do what they did to get the previous president out of parliament, we would likely, okay, we did have the vote, but we would have likely had him for longer than what was necessary. And it was the longest 59 trillion years of having him as the president of the country. But one of the quotes that I loved hearing from Michelle Obama, I think it was last year before last, sorry, 2020 still seems like it didn't happen, so I probably heard this in 2019. And Michelle Obama said that the role of adults is to be role models for children. Now, with that in mind, there are really things and narratives that have been put out there by Julius Malema that do not sit well with me as someone that is supposed to be a role model for the next generation. How you conduct yourself both personally and in business or in a professional platform really just shows the type of person I believe that you are. And the things that he has said, the violent rhetoric that he has sort of put out there, you know, about killing the white people, slitting their throats, not necessarily white people, that's not fair. He said, we will slit the throats of whiteness or something like that. That's a bit of a violent rhetoric. The other thing that really does not sit well with me is when he was still part of the ANC Youth League. We are aware that politicians are going to be playing the pawn game. No, that sounds wrong. They like chess players, right? A large number of them, they are here to satisfy a specific agenda that they have. So as when he was part of the youth league, ANC Youth League, he was quoted again. It's a violent rhetoric that he was saying that he will kill for Jacob Zuma, and that for me did not sit well. And then when he left the ANC and he was suspended or expelled, suspended for 5 years from the ANC, then, you know, all these things sort of happened, and then he started the EFF. There was an excitement, but there was a slight apprehension, but also an admiration for him, because during that time when the EFF was really just starting, you know, he finished his degree. He went, without publicizing it, I think he got his honors in the Bachelor of Arts. You know, he was exercising, and you know, his marriage life seemed to be in a good space. Like, it just seemed like everything behind the scenes, he was doing all the things to make sure that he enables himself to be a good leader for the country. But the violent rhetoric that he sometimes spews, for me, does not sit well. It feels a bit too militant for me. It feels a bit too militant, and it's just an intuition. It's just a feeling. It's annoying in my stomach that's just saying, nah, bruh. Then when he started the EFF, he flipped his coin. Now again, for me, there is a thing that I can't think of. For me, that raises an alarm bell. Where he suddenly flipped the switch, and he says, pay back the money, and you know, he sits in Parliament together with, you know, his colleagues, and they just cause a ruckus about paying back the money. Then recently again, he sort of flipped the switch. He was tweeting Jacob Zuma saying that we need to have tea, it is in the interest of the country. Then they're taking a picture together that is put on the newspapers, and it seemed like everything was all smiley and kumbaya. That does not sit well with me. If there is a question mark about your integrity, it just does not. I don't want you to be my leader. And then there's this constant thing of causing a disruption in Parliament. Even when there isn't a necessity for it, they're going to cause some sort of ruckus in Parliament. Like, at some point, relax. Let the people talk. We might not believe them, we might not agree with them, but again, as a leader, you need to have an understanding of when to fight, when to relax, when to push the accelerator, when to ease off the accelerator. You cannot constantly be in fight or flight mode. That's just not good leadership principles. Let's talk about the boyfriend that keeps cheating on me. The ANC. I had mentioned previously that as a black woman, I don't feel like the DA really will be fighting for me. And unfortunately, in as much of, you know, there's been policies, there's been laws, there's been regulations that have been put into place, I, as a woman, still do not feel appreciated by the ANC. I still feel like I'm just a commodity as a woman to the ANC. Now let me explain. Coming from a country that is very, very violent towards women, some of the leadership in the ANC also perpetuates that kind of a lifestyle, that kind of narrative of being violent towards women. How do we see this? We see this in them voting as their president, ergo president of the country, for 2 terms. Someone that was accused of rape, and through dubious means he was acquitted for rape. Now, since that court case took place, there's been plenty of writings, there's been plenty of investigation that proves, oh sorry 27, you're sort of falling apart there. Now we all know what that man did was not right on any level. Okay, let's say that he really did not rape Kwezi. Let's call a spade. He did not. Let's say that it was a consensual act between the 2 of them. They pointed out time and again that she is someone that has a mental illness. How can you say, for someone that they have said, you know, she has a mental illness, therefore she slept with so many men and so on and so forth, then you can say that she has given proper consent, if that is your defense. Number 2, I'm sorry, but me as myself, and I have a good friend of mine that we've been through a lot together, when I see my friend's child, I'm going to see my friend's child as just that, my friend's child. I am not in any way, shape or form going to start thinking in a sexual way, having sexual thoughts, even if that child starts prancing around me naked. I will slap them silly and tell them to put their clothes on. Anyway, ooh, the audacity. This man says that I made sure that I am not HIV positive because once I finished having sex with her, I went and I took a shower to make sure that I do not get HIV. Again, on the same scenario, and I think I mentioned this in one of the prior videos, that the ANC Women's League was standing outside the court, and I remember watching this court case. I still lived in East London then, and I was perplexed. I was actually really hurt and angered by the fact that there were women from the ANC Women's League that were standing outside showing their support for Jacob Zuma. In actual fact, there were women that were quoted saying that Kwezi should be grateful and should count herself as lucky by the fact that Jacob Zuma slept with her or raped her because he's so handsome. Now, there's been other rumors of this man sexually harassing other women, unconfirmed rumors, and these are by professional women that don't necessarily want to come out because they are fearful that this will impact their livelihoods, their professional reputations. For me, as a political party, I would distance myself so much from a person like that. Never put them in a leadership position. Even to this day, the fact that he's been asked to step aside is not because of that rape issue. It is because of corruption. Again, me as a woman that constantly lives under fear when I go for a walk, I've been followed, I've been stalked, and this has not just been in Johannesburg, this has been in East London. I've been mugged. Like, I have had men try to do crazy things to me. The fact that they will not acknowledge what they did was wrong as a political party, for me, I will never be voting for the ANC. I do not know if the ANC Women's League did retract their statement, but that was really, really dangerous. The fact that they showed support as women to another woman, that they showed support to Jacob Zuma and not to Kwesi. That, especially if they're saying that she's mentally ill. Like, it just does not make any sense. Jacob Zuma is not the only leader that has been problematic in terms of gender-based violence, obviously against women, or violence against women. There's a number of other leaders. One of them is the ANC councillor Kenneth Mgaga. Then there's another ANC councillor, Sipho Maselane. Then there is the PEC member, and they did not disclose his name, as far as I know, to protect the victims. He raped his twin daughters. Then we had the deputy minister, the then deputy minister of higher education. His name is Mduduzi Manana. That's not an exhaustive list, unfortunately. There are more of these kinds of people that the ANC hasn't done enough. Do better. So, wow, that was a bit of a downer. Now, what is the solution to this? These three political parties that seemingly do not really care about me as a woman, about me as a human being. I don't know what the solution is. Over the past couple of votes, and I mean that in a national as well as a provincial level of voting, I've been looking for the smaller parties that were up and coming. And I remember there was Dr. Rampele Mampele, I think that's her name, when she started with her political party, and then that sort of fell apart and that got awkward. And then there was Patricia de Lille. I was quite excited for Patricia de Lille. She's a stalwart. You know, she seems to work hard. She's a no-nonsense person. I have no idea what happened to her political party. I have been looking for other political parties to see what it is that they are doing in their communities. Now, I do not want a political party that gets formed 2 months before we're going to vote. I want to see a political party, even if it is small, but I want to see a political party that is taking a district or a ward or a town or something like that, and they are saying, we're going to use this as a model and we're going to effect positive change in this place that we're at. I am yet to see a political party, but that is what I am looking out for. But still believe that everyone has the right to make their own mind about which political party that they want to vote for. So the solution to this really is get your act together, three political parties, because you guys are exhausting. That's all that I have from this very somber video. I'm sorry. I mean, I tried to make it a little bit light, but this subject matter is really close to my heart. Also, why are we donating money to a deputy president? I genuinely do not think I have heard or seen anything by, it's David Babuzana, that's our president, the deputy president. That's not the country's deputy president. But that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully next time, actually not hopefully, definitely next time, I'll be bringing more exciting things that we can talk about. Please, if you have not subscribed, please do take a second to just go down take your cursor and just go down a little bit and just click on that subscribe button for more content. If you liked this video, please do give the video a thumbs up. If you would like to even have more conversation around this, I would really appreciate a comment or two. Yeah, we'll see each other again pretty soon, next week. If not next week, week after next, because my goal for this year is to upload a video once a week, or at least once every other week on a Sunday. Bye everyone, and enjoy the happy birthday of South Africa.